teammate Scott was saying. And they, like you said, they just kept postponing and postponing it, that they forgot about the lubrication on it. So what could we prevented this is that if the FAA would have just made it mandatory to do the lubrication at its time that it should have been done. They also approved another extension on the plate check interval, which is, of course, the FAA approved of that again, which should have been done primarily when it should have been done in the mandatory rules, but they approved another extension on it. Also, a fail-safe mechanism would have prevented this also if it would have been in place to prevent the catastrophic events that happened. And here's a picture of the actual fail-safe that if it would have been installed. So, after everything happened, there are only 16 recommendations. Only recommendations, nothing mandatory. A few of these recommendations included, not all 16, but only a few, information bulletin directing air carriers to instruct pilots that in the event of an inoperative or malfunctioning flight control system, if the airplane is controllable, they should complete only applicable checklist procedures and should not attempt any corrective actions beyond those specified. So when they were messing with it, when he said that it was like a test flight, they shouldn't have gone more than what they should have done, which could have possibly saved them or not. It's all in the speculation. Calculate and record average wear rates for each airplane based on end plane measurements and flight times, meaning the acme screw that we were speaking about. The FAA should require operators and maintenance facilities that overhaul jack screw assemblies to report this information to the FAA or for use in determining and evaluating an appropriate end plane check interval. Again, through the FAA, which, you know, how well that performed when they kept supplying all of these for their approvals. Require operators to measure and record the on-wing end plane measurements whenever a jack screw assembly is replaced. And also, this is not last, but establish a jack screw assembly lubrication procedure as a required inspection item that must have an inspector sign up before the test be considered complete. Meaning that there was no required sign off when they're doing this maintenance on the Acme jack screw prior to this. And I don't know if they're even doing it now. Like I said, this is all recommendations, nothing mandatory. So they might have changed it, maybe not. Aside from that, after the accident, Alaska Airlines hired a consulting firm to conduct an independent safety assessment of the airline. So aside from the FAA doing their investigation, they hired their own firm for an investigation, a different side private firm. The firm assembled a 13-member team of subject matter experts in flight operations, hazardous material handling, security, and maintenance and engineering. So they investigated all of these different types of things, not just the maintenance, but everything that had to do with it, engineering of the hazardous materials handling and whatnot. The purpose of this assessment was to identify areas where Alaska Airlines' overall safety and efficiencies can be enhanced. So whatever was not to spec, they wanted to enhance whatever wasn't properly operating. The assessment team made over 170 recommendations. 170, think about that. That's more than 16 than what the FAA considered. But the FAA only studied what was going on with the maintenance. This group was studying everything with maintenance and everything revolving around it. Including increasing staff, enhanced standardizing of operating and training manuals, revises GMM to clarify and update policies, responsibilities, and procedures, increase maintenance training, etc. Because I cannot go over all 170 of them. Appoint a vice president of corporate safety to manage the department, which I don't know if they currently do. I did not do that part of the research, but they did recommend that part to hire a vice president for that. So after all this accident happened, the families of the victims approved the construction of a memorial, a sundial, that was placed at Port Hueneme. I don't know how to pronounce that. The sundial was designed to cast a shadow on the memorial plaque at 1622 each January 31st. For their actions during their emergency, Captain Ted Thompson and the First Officer Bill Tanksy was awarded the Airline Pilots Association Gold Medal of Heroism. And that's the sundial that sits there right now. And just to revise, these are all 88 passengers that passed away during the crash. So if you want to take a look at it, there's a 6-month-old from Seattle right here. There's a whole family of Clemenson. There's a family of Lake. And yeah, that's our presentation, guys.